Welcome to Feeling Asian, a podcast where two Asians talk about their feelings. I'm Youngmi Mayer.
And I'm Brian Park. And listeners, you're in for a treat this week.
We have an extremely amazing guest. We need to upgrade how we introduce people, because I feel like now everyone's so extremely amazing and important and interesting. We need to do fresh intros, Brian.
Yeah, we need to give a facelift to our intros. I just came back from LA, in case you couldn't tell, based on...
Make it more LA-y. Do an LA-y intro, Brian. What would you say if you were from a LA Korean and you were really ripped?
Well, for one, we wouldn't be recording this podcast in our respective bedrooms. We'd be in a studio in some YouTuber hype house, and we'd probably be wearing and I'd probably be wearing some black ripped skinny jeans right now
with your bulging what are those leg muscles called in the front? Quads? Your quads just bulging out of the fucking naked nudie jeans or whatever. Yo, what up? This is Brian Park. I don't know.
Wow, that got quite
Brian Park, and I'm coming
this podcast got quite
straight
very
from
erotic.
LA. Is
that your impression of an LA Koreatown guy?
Yes.
Straight from LA.
This is 진짜 Brian Park, straight from getting my fucking bicep tatted.
I think that's a perfect intro.
Yeah, let's start doing that.
Let's just start doing that. So, okay. Listeners, that's our new intro from this point forward, and you're getting an inside scoop. And I think our guest will be honored to be the inaugural guest with our new LA Koreatown intro.
Koreatown guy intro, yeah. She's 진짜 lucky to be on our podcast, Brian.
Okay, I'm fucking... At this point, it's becoming disrespectful to our guest.
Sorry. That's what Korean men in LA do. They disrespect females as they lovingly. I'm just kidding. Sorry,
oh yeah,
it's getting bad.
Gotta uphold the patriarchy. That's the only way I know. It's 진짜 good. Anyways, listeners, like I said before, you're in for an absolute treat this week because our guest is a senior Vanities correspondent at Vanity Fair and author of the upcoming novel Central Places. Listeners, please give your ears for Delia Kai.
All right. Hi, guys. Thank you for having me. I'm a big fan.
Is the Koreatown LA bro energy scaring you? Because you sound scared and
it's
impressed
confirming. It's confirming a lot of suspicions / observations I've had on my end, having met a few of those. And so I didn't know if it was a thing, because I'm from the Midwest, so that whole dynamic is very new to me still.
What's Midwestern Asian guy? Give us a
oh my God. I'm trying to think. I mean, just I think the Midwest Asian guy is probably very quiet, very good in school, sort of fulfilling a lot of the stereotypes that you see on TV. Probably because it's this kind of identity that comes out of just trying to fit in out of survival, because you don't really have this kind of overwhelming sense of I'm part of a diaspora, I have a community. But I mean, if they're coming from the Midwest, then they will also be unfailingly nice and polite, and probably loves casserole. So that's the Midwest Asian guy. Yeah.
My ex-husband is a Midwest Asian guy, and I feel like you nailed it.
Yeah.
He loves a cream cheese log.
Yeah. Eats too much dairy, even for our biology,
I think you
That's
nailed
what happens when you don't have a group of hyungs to tell you how to act, in LA. You know what I'm
saying?
Sorry.
Oh my God.
Truly, when I meet a West Coast Asian person, I'm you're so different. You guys are so different, And I'm in awe.
Different from an East Coast Asian too.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, it's time to wrap it up. We solved the mystery.
So we were right about the.
So we were right all along.
LA guys. Yeah.
But Delia, we're super excited to have you on this pod because I follow you. I know your work through online, just the destination, general abstract online.
The internet.
The internet, the interwebs. And
I've seen you on the internet.
yeah, you up top, you gave us a little hot take about the Midwest Asian guys, and that's a little teaser for what to expect. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of hot takes on this episode.
I think so too. I was like thinking through some of the things I want to talk about, and I was like, "Is this okay?" I think it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. See,
It's gonna
just
be
the more, like, if you feel that you're gonna get canceled for it, the more
Lean
that
into
you should
it.
say it. Yeah,
Okay.
lean
Say
into
it.
it.
You should
Yeah.
say yes.
As Sheryl Sandberg says, lean in.
Yeah.
Lean into getting canceled.
Who
That's the
also
energy we wanna
wasn't
bring.
she canceled? So here we go.
Right.
I think she's doing just
there you
fine.
have it. She's doing fine. Okay.
But yeah, we like to start off every episode by asking each other how we feel. So, Youngmi, how are you feeling?
I am feeling very productive. I have been doing a lot of work every day. And it's feels very good. And it's like interesting because I'm writing a lot, and it just feels bad to write. It just feels like the last thing I ever want to fucking do ever. I would rather, like, I get like panic attacks because I just don't want to do it, and then I finally do it and I'm like, it's not that bad, and it just takes me forever to like hype myself up. But I've been like in this really good like flow where I've been writing for hours every day, and then I fall into this like hole, and then I'm like, I don't want to stop writing, you know what I mean? Which is feels very new to me. I was also fucking freaked out because the whole time I was in Korea, because I was in Korea for a month, Delia, and I in my head I was like, well, I'm gonna have all this free time, I'm gonna write a ton every day, and I didn't write a single fucking word. And then I was like, what the fuck? And I was like freaked out, coming back to back home, being like, I have nothing to show for this quote unquote vacation. But then I think my brain was like having to process so much emotional stuff, being around my family and being around places where I grew up. And I think what happened was that was like my brain like processing stuff, and then I came back and it sort of took time for me to like adjust, and then it like I like digested it, and now it's like getting shit out of me. Do you know what I mean? It's like shitting out of me, like travel diarrhea, just the shit just flying out of me. And so I was like, oh my, I had to like give myself time to digest and process, and it's just like another lesson in being kind to myself. Like not. I'm sure. I mean, obviously, Delia, you're a writer, and you probably feel the same way, like you always like freak yourself out because you're not doing quote unquote enough, but then it does come, it does come later. So I'm feeling very good about my productivity levels is how I would say I'm feeling. How about you, Brian? How are you feeling?
Similarly, I just want to say I'm really glad that you're diarrheaing out all those words onto your Word document. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm feeling very LA. I was in LA for the past week, and gotta say, it's pretty nice out there. I caught the bug. I got it. It's beautiful. I went there to mainly for work, but it was just so great to catch up with all of my old friends. And yeah, the work event I was there for was I hosted this event for this Korean arts coalition called Gyopo. And, for lack of a better description, it's just a very awesome organization, but it very much felt like a Korean arts Illuminati sort of like, yeah, I got into the room. But
you got into the Asian Illuminati?
I got into the room, but importantly, they do really, really great work. But, prior to this trip, I've been feeling kind of like second guessing my confidence has been not as high when it like with my creative practice, but being in that environment, it just like filled me with so much inspiration, and it rejuvenated my confidence just to be surrounded by so many movers and shakers in the art space and surrounded by all of these Korean Americans who are incredibly passionate about this type of work. Like, I don't know. I don't think I've ever been surrounded by a community like that. And it filled me with a sense of purpose of like, oh, this is what I do it for. Like, I belong here. Like, we all kind of get it. This is amazing. And yeah, just catching up with all my old friends who are, you know, doing the whole LA thing, but doing incredibly well in their own respective ways. It was great. It provided a lot of clarity. It was a very, very productive and amazing trip. And yeah, I don't know. Everyone in LA is just super shiny and everyone looks good. I kind of want to get jacked now.
Is everyone jacked?
Everyone's jacked. I met up with some friends and they all told me the same thing. They were like, yeah, man, you know, when I moved to LA from New York, I told myself I was never going to be that guy. And now when I got lunch with them and their like biceps are bulging out of their t-shirts and they were like, I got.
They caught the bug. I heard through the grapevine, meaning Brian told me earlier, that you met Steven Yeun.
Oh my God.
And Steven Yeun said that he has a crush on me. I'm just kidding. He listens to this podcast.
Yeah, rumor has it. Allegedly. So Youngmi, we
wow.
That's the thing. The thing with the podcast is it's you know, you can't track who listens, but it's we out here. So
wow.
Do you guys have a dream like person to listen to the podcast?
Steven Yeun.
Yeah.
He definitely was up there. I used to make a lot of jokes about how I would lose every acting audition to him. But now he probably heard me say that. And
oh God. Oh no.
It's okay.
Embarrassing.
I don't know.
Oh, and then I also heard that you met Kathy Park Hong. So you were in the Illuminati, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, this was a great organization. Well, the event was put in. It was a benefit to honor the works of Kathy Park Hong. So she was the special guest of honor. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How
so
excellent.
Nice.
Speaking of Korean Illuminati, I hung out with Michelle Zauner.
Wow.
And we got fucking drunk at 3 p.m.
Yeah, that's the New York vibe right there.
That's the New York vibe. Just in a dark dungeon 노래방. We were just drinking shots of well tequila. Like, well tequila is being nice to what this tequila was. It was like bottom of the well tequila.
Yeah, we were living the bi-coastal realities. Like, mine was like a sunny LA like lunch benefit, and you were getting shit-faced in a Koreatown 노래방 at like 6 p.m.
I feel like there was meth in that tequila. Living the Korean dream.
Living the Korean dream. That's how I'm feeling. But what about you, Delia? How are you feeling?
I'm a little envious of your guys' travels because I haven't really been traveling this summer or like I guess like this fall as much, but I am still exhausted just because New York Fashion Week just ended and I had a very light version. Like I cannot emphasize how like light my like fashion week was, but it was still so exhausting, and I'm trying to like milk it to be as like dramatic about it as possible because it sounds really cool to be like, oh, I'm like so exhausted, I had this show and then I had this event, and it was literally like one event per day, but let me tell you, like cumulatively it like I couldn't do it. I don't think I have the constitution for it.
Fashion week is rough.
Yo.
Events are rough.
It's so much.
I'm surprised you described it as light. Oh, sorry.
One event a day is like, okay, so I feel like you're saying it's light because I feel like people do Fashion Week like they do like 20 things a day or something. But I think what people don't talk about when they talk about events like this, even if it's just like one event, is the psychological toll.
Yes.
It's like you did like a marathon, but with your brain, like just like smiling at the wrong people, like all those like weird social things that you have to do is exhausting.
Absolutely. And I think also a lot of Fashion Week events are sort of like not engineered, but every time you go, you just see like countless people who are richer, better dressed, like just from a totally different world than you. And so also like after a while you're like, am I anything? You know? Like, why am I here?
Yes. Absolutely.
Very psychologically damaging.
Oh, that sounds fucking terrible. Well, I was gonna say, I follow you on Instagram, and your Instagram stories, it seemed like you were busy as all hell, and you just described it as a Fashion Week light.
Right? I mean, okay, that's very validating for you to say, because I feel like my friends in fashion are sort of like, are having the real crazy, like all-nighters or, like hitting the billion events a day. But yeah, I feel like this pushed me right to my limit, which turns out to be like one a day for 5 days, and that was it.
Yeah, same.
Yo.
10 minutes a day, I'm wiped out, everyone.
Did you get starstruck at all at any of these events?
Oh my God. Honestly, yes. I went to, like Vogue had this show for their 130th anniversary called Vogue World. And it was they just like did it on this like block in the meatpacking district. And it started and then it like paused after the first like kind of like they sent a group of marathon runners down the runway on like the cobblestone streets, and then they pause, and then you just see this like poor Vogue staffer like kind of running to get someone to their seat, and then everybody gasps as we all realize like, oh, it's Kanye West. So I'm like not even like a big, I'm not like a big Kanye fan, but I was like, wow, like that's life, I just saw Kanye West, and it was just like so unmistakable that you're like, wow, yeah, okay. Kind of like my online world sort of, or like everything that I perceive online so almost like checks out in the real world now, where it's like, yeah, he's real.
Whoa, that's sick. And Kanye arrived fashionably late.
Yes.
Fashionably late.
It was amazing. People thought it was part of the show because it was like that would be a great stunt if we just happened to like have Kanye walk by, right?
He just like walked in. He wasn't even invited. He's just like, I'm gonna sit here. And people were like, yes, please.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But that's like that. There's like a psychological toll there. I feel like just like being in the presence of people, and like obviously I don't think that there's like inherent value in celebrities and stuff like that. But just like being in front of those people and having to interact and like act correctly and stuff. That's like really tiring for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And that feeling of being a loser, like I'm a loser. Why am I here?
Yeah, I'm like looking at my like pants from like Uniqlo, and I'm like, why am I here?
Literally. But I have to say, I was talking to Michelle because we went to the same fashion show, and she was like, I feel like that too. And I was like, not Michelle Zauner.
Yeah.
Not Michelle Zauner feeling like that.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just like, I don't know.
Maybe it never ends.
Everybody.
Maybe Kanye was walking to his seat and he's like, fuck, I'm such a loser.
Yeah, like there's always someone either on top of you or like cooler than you in your head, at least. That's bleak.
But But Kanye probably wasn't like that.
No, he wasn't. He was not. He absolutely did not think that. Let it be known, Kanye did not think that.
But speaking of, your online presence in your online world, you recently had a buzzy piece titled, "The professional tryhard is dead, but you still need to return to the office." So for our listeners who still might not have read it, check it out, go read it.
It was mega viral. Everybody read
viral, all over Twitter. But in your words, what is a professional tryhard?
It's really funny because basically this piece came out of a conversation I had with my editor, Matt, where we were like making fun of people that we were seeing still posting on LinkedIn or just kind of still like getting really worked up about like the return to office stuff, where there were just like a few people who's like Malcolm Gladwell just being really intense about it. And we were just, we were like came up with a few different names that we were just sort of like, what is it? It's like the person who's like really earnest on LinkedIn, the person who's sort of still like really performatively hashtagging like rise and grind. And just, we talked about just like how there's this like dissonance with the fact that every normal person we knew is sort of feeling this overall just disillusionment with work, and especially in kind of like the world of white collar work, of how this idea of like the hustle and kind of the corner office dream, it's just kind of increasingly looking like a scam. And so we just wanted to kind of put a name to the kinds of people who sort of didn't seem to get the memo on the fact that like, oh, everyone else is kind of clued into the fact that all kinds of work, but including white collar work, are like the mythology of it is something that like everyone has stopped buying into during the past couple of years. But who are these guys who are still like, yeah, man, like come watch my TED talk, like my post on LinkedIn, you know, like I like still like kind of out here like hustling, and so we sort of just talked about like the what am I trying to say? I guess like just the divide between like whoever these guys, and so many of them are guys, are, and everyone else.
Right. It's like this well, I mean, I think it's interesting that it is a lot of men, because, you know, with it's like the conversation that comes up with a lot of white men, you know, the anti-racism conversations, or like the patriarchy or something like that, even though those and then this whole system, like capitalistic, you know, work hard and you will get ahead, like, which is, you know, everyone sees it as a scam, but it's like the people that are closest to possibly succeeding in it, they like just don't want to give it up, you know, like they stick to it.
So so going forward, is the change gonna begin with you, Delia? So when you secure your corner office and you see a professional tryhard make a cringy, sincere LinkedIn post, you're going to punish them for that.
I'm going to bring them into my office and I'm going to be like, you need to like calm down. Like go take a pottery class. Do something else.
Oh my God, you'd be the best boss. You'd be like, hey, I noticed that you came in on time every day this week. Embarrassing.
Yeah. Sounds like someone's a fucking loser.
Damn. As I read it, I saw a lot of myself in it. I'm a bit of a professional tryhard.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say anything. I was like, Brian was like, yeah, that person does sound like a loser to me.
Yeah, couldn't be me. But did you receive any blowback from boomers because of this piece?
Honestly, no. Like not to me personally, but I have just been enjoying like how the overall conversations around like quiet quitting and return to office and everything are playing out. Like, did you guys see there was like an opinion piece in The Hill where some guy wrote, like, the headline was, "My grandmother was a quiet quitter and now she's dead." And it was so unhinged. So it's like, I don't even know if that counts as blowback, because it just seems like a public self-roast for like all of our purposes. But just like stuff like that. So nothing personally. Probably because maybe, like, I hope maybe it's because everyone's like doing a little self-eval if they saw themselves in the piece and they resisted the urge to reply.
Right.
Huh. That's so interesting. But do you know anybody? I mean, I know Brian's like joking, but like, do you know anyone personally in your like sphere, in your workplace situation that has this sort of personality?
I don't think so.
Right?
I mean, there are definitely people outside of the circle that like maybe we talk about, but like everyone I know is just like, even if they're in their dream job, even if they're doing really well, they're just sort of like, I found the ceiling where even that satisfaction can reach, and now I'm like in a rec softball league, or now I'm getting a dog. I think just like, especially the past few years, everyone's like, turns out like there's just not like kind of an infinite like I don't know, increase in returns, which is like really embarrassing to say. It's like that corporate speak that infiltrates everything that we talk about. But I think everyone's just like, yeah, like I worked hard and I'm doing it, but like even so, it's not like making my life amazing.
Yeah.
What do you think is can I ask you a question that like, just what do you think is like the future of like this, because of this? Like, what do you think it's gonna look like, this workplace? Like, do you think anything's gonna get like tossed up and changed, or
I think, oh God, I like, my really cynical point of view is that I think we're just seeing the pendulum swinging a way that sort of favors workers and sort of at least addresses a lot of issues that things like the labor movement and just like seeing unions happening, like Condé Nast just our union just got recognized, which is really exciting. So I think just like kind of this, on one hand, I want to say like right now it's like kind of a great time for workers and for everyone to just really reevaluate their relationship to work. But on the other hand, it's like everyone's talking about the gloom and doom of like the next recession. And I think that like, it's so cynical, but I sort of think that like as soon as that hits, there's a huge chance that things will just go kind of back to the other side where it's like, oh, we'll do whatever we can for our jobs because everything is so unstable now. But I kind of hope that maybe with all the groundwork people are laying now in terms of just like this idea of like, I should be able to go home when I'm supposed to go home, or I don't need to answer emails over the weekend. I'm hoping that groundwork like will stay when things get economically precarious, but I guess we'll see.
What do you think, Youngmi? I'm cynical. I think that people are gonna realize that the return on investment in personal happiness isn't that great in the corporate rec softball league, and go back to corporate work with a rejuvenated sense of purpose. So now C-suite executives are going to have septum piercings, but also be incredibly earnest on LinkedIn. That's my take.
My take is like even more cynical. I feel like we're at the stage of capitalism where it's just, there's a impending recession, and I'm just like, it's all gonna just like blow up, and there's gonna be no jobs. Do you know what I mean? Like none of this is gonna. It's gonna be apocalypse time. Do you know what I mean? Like we're gonna be like out in the field wearing a potato sack. It's like there's gonna be no like executive assistant to the photographer's wife or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, I feel like it's just all just gonna end. Period.
Yin and yang. We're on opposite ends of the spectrum because I got a long 500-word sincere post on LinkedIn ready to go, baby. As
just
soon as this podcast ends.
Make sure you space it out with the line breaks after each sentence. You know.
And don't forget the hashtags, Brian.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Rise and grind.
Oh. This is how I found love with my creative practice again after being amongst the Korean American Illuminati in LA, a thread. Well, Delia, we see your job as being you're like a psychic. You're a trend forecaster of sorts.
That's very generous.
We want to know, what are some cultural trends that you think will hit the mainstream zeitgeist in the near to far future?
I mean, it's kind of funny you say that because I think, Youngmi, like your forecast of kind of like what's to come in the world of work makes me think of, in my life right now, I'm trying to pick up skills that would actually be useful in the apocalypse. And so I think sort of more, I think like in terms of like, the whole cottage core thing about people like photographing or like taking videos of their life as if they're living in like a pastoral house upstate or whatever. I think that like it's interesting to see where that might lead to in terms of like that colliding with this sense of impending, like, I should probably know how to grow a vegetable, like just in case. And so I'm kind of curious, like I would be really interested to see if there might be not like a back to the land movement, but like with the second coming of kind of like that like early hipster culture too, where everyone was sort of into like, I'm like making my own kombucha or whatever. I think there's an interest in kind of this self-sufficiency, but not so much in the work sphere as it is in like my gathering my food and like DIYing my apartment and all of that. But like in preparation, like not for TikToks, but like in preparation for bunker mode.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta learn some fucking skills ASAP because telling jokes and is not gonna help. It's not gonna like help anybody.
Well, have you picked up any skills recently, Delia?
I've been going to pottery class for the past
Nice.
year. So like a thought exercise I think about a lot, and then I ask a lot of people when I meet them is like, you know, when the apocalypse comes and you're like auditioning to be part of like this like wandering tribe, like they're deciding
Yeah.
if they want you or not, like what are the things I can tell them in terms of like what can I do? So now I can be like, well, if you happen to have uh clay and electricity and a pottery wheel and like all these certain conditions, I can make you guys some bowls.
Yes.
But otherwise, yeah, I'm like, I've literally thought about it and I've been like, I'm kind of good with kids. I could do like the tribe kindergarten,
That's true.
but otherwise,
Yeah.
like, I don't know
Oh.
what else I could do.
That
What
is
would you guys do?
invaluable. See, I was making a mental list in my head while you were
Yeah.
answering, and I was like, I got nothing. I got jokes, sucking dick, kind of good at it. I'm horrible at it. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't even know what I would do.
That's
Play
it.
tennis.
I like petting cats. I like petting cats. Like if you have a bunch of I'll pet your cats while you're, out getting wood. I'll pet your cats.
Yeah.
That's it. I have nothing.
Wow.
Oh God. Literally.
To piggyback off of an earlier statement, do you think that we will see a trend going forward where people will go offline and go to flip phone mode and not be on social media altogether?
I feel like people who are successful or people who are rich enough to not be tied to like to not have a job that depends on like your online presence, I think they definitely like can and will, and like God bless them. I feel like that's like the
True.
dream, right? Is like you hustle hard enough and then you get to a point where
I
you just log
know.
off forever.
Yeah.
I
Seriously.
know.
You have
Fuck.
your assistant tell you the news. Yeah.
I know. I saw Aziz Ansari do his new hour, and he had like 20 minutes on how he has a flip phone. And I'm like,
Amazing.
well, no fucking shit. You're fucking Aziz Ansari. Like,
Yeah.
you have an assistant doing everything for you. You don't have to be online anymore.
Yeah. And then
That's
the
funny.
weird people who are wealthy and then they still do it. Like we were talking
Yeah.
about what was that Harry Potter woman? She's
Yeah.
still on Twitter. And it's
J.K.
like, you're
Rowling.
getting cooked. You're getting cooked every day. Just step away from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're getting your fucking ass handed to you 50 million times a day. Just turn it off.
Yeah.
But looking at it from the other side of things, she is also a story of resilience, Just
Stop.
fucking getting canceled every day, yet she still shows up to Twitter.
Yet she
Post-
persisted.
Posting bad takes.
Problematic takes every day.
She's probably like, Harry Potter probably wouldn't have been popular on Twitter either. It's okay. Keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I wish, yeah. Can you imagine just logging off? I'm so
No, I
mentally
can't
ill though. Like,
imagine.
what would I do?
Yeah.
Just, bother everybody.
Or what was that? The thing that it was on LinkedIn. There was that like CEO who was like praised for paying all of his employees a really high wage,
Yeah.
and then he got mega canceled and ousted from his own company for horrible, heinous things. It's just like that's a red flag there too.
Yeah.
Just like virtue signaling to the max, especially on LinkedIn of all places.
Right.
Well, we want to play a game of Here to Stay or Passing Fad. Feel free to dish some things back to us, Delia, if a stroke of inspiration should occur. So, first up, Here to Stay or Passing Fad? The social media platform Be Real.
I think it's here to stay for a while, but it's such a glitchy app. Like, are you guys on it?
No.
No.
It's like, it's really
That's
glitchy.
how I'm old.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it depends. It's like, it'll stay as long as like, or what am I trying to say? I think actually it could pass because Instagram has not gotten their shit back together. It's not like a hellscape, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's probably up to the teens. We'll have to see what the teens do.
Let's see what the teens are saying.
It's up
Yeah.
to the teens.
Yeah.
Teens are our only hope. Save Be Real.
Yeah.
No, when I was in LA, my friend, the Be Real notification popped up, and he was like, "Look at me, you're gonna be in my Be Real." And I was like, "Ooh, me?" Such an honor.
Yeah.
I don't even know what Be Real is. I'm so lost. I'm
think
trying to
it's-
act like I know.
It's a social media platform where you have like a window of opportunity to post. So you can't. It's trying to fight against the heavily curated, heavily branded aesthetic of Instagram.
Right.
So it's like whatever you're truly doing. So this past week when you were writing a shitload, Young Me,
Yeah.
your entire Be Real account would just be you, like in front of your MacBook,
Okay. I get
and that's
it.
like the real you.
It's supposed to be like
love that.
boring on purpose, but sometimes it's
Oh.
just boring because then you're looking at everyone like, yeah, we're all still at work, you know?
Yeah,
on
I'm
our
like,
computers.
Yeah.
fuck this. I want to see Delia at Vogue World.
Right.
Give me the hits.
I swear to God, I think that day the Be Real hit like after I left, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I was just amongst celebrities and models, and now I'm going home, and now you want to know what I'm doing?
That is so funny.
But I feel like that's another type of affliction of
100%.
that's a sketch character of like someone who lingers too long at a function just
Yeah.
in hopes that the Be Real will be hitting.
Yeah. I saw a tweet that was like, someone was like, I was on a boat all day, and now I'm getting the notification. Like, and it would be really that. Yeah, that's a funny sketch idea.
So funny.
All right, Delia, here to stay our passing fad. The actor Jeremy Allen White, the lead from the hit show The Bear.
Oh my God, he's staying. I just saw he just got cast in an A24 movie, so
I'm
that's
sure
like a
he
great
did.
move. Yeah.
Oh, props to his
Wait.
agent and manager
Yeah.
for really great next step.
I just want to ask why Brian wrote this question, and he wrote Jeremy Allen White or chefs in general. Do you think chefs are a passing fad, Brian?
No, I forgot to read the rest of it.
Or
but his
chefs?
entire-
Are chefs staying?
Our chef's, yeah, I had a little laugh. I was like, our chef's
I was inspired by Delia's Twitter because you were a lot of thirst posts for Jeremy Allen
Yeah.
White coming from your Twitter main.
Did you, there was, I think a Page 6 interview where they just interviewed a random, like, 20-something-year-old chef, and he was just like,
think I
I'm
saw
making a
that.
killing on Tinder. Like,
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that, and I was like, as someone that spent a bulk of my 20s fucking a bunch of line cooks, I want everyone to know that I'm so sorry, girl. I'm so sorry about the chlamydia and the and you're gonna be spending $18 every night on a 6-pack of Modelo, and you're better than that life, girl. Get out now.
Like, Youngmi, you can speak to this more because you have you've been in the restaurant industry for
Yeah.
you have more exposure to it. Like, have chefs and line cooks always just been that like archetype of person, or now that it's part of the cultural zeitgeist, is it just like become reinforced? Where if I'm like a 17-year-old dude, I have
Yeah.
indie interests, I have some stick and pokes. Like now it's in my brain. Like this is a pretty cool job. I'm gonna be able to date a lot of girls with this, and it has a cultural cachet. I'm gonna become a chef. Like, have you noticed like a pendulum? Yeah.
They've always been like that. I mean, since I've been in the restaurant industry since like 2003. So they've always been, there's always been like a wave of like indie sort of like alt guys that do it. Just because of the drugs, mostly, you know, the fucking cocaine and the fucking heroin. Or whatever,
Right.
whatever they're doing now. I don't know. The Modelos. But, you know, it's like a mixed bag. It is like a lot of like people that have like literally been to jail. And just like, it's just like, and it's also working class, you know, like people don't know about the working class. Like people just don't know what people in the working class look like at all. And that's just what the working class is. Like you have a drug problem and you dropped out of high school and you have gauged ears. The end.
All right. So I think that's our definitive answer here. So Jeremy Allen White, the actor, here to stay. Chefs in
Chefs?
general, passing fad. There's a distinction.
Brian, you're so funny. Oh my god. Okay.
All right, next up. Here to stay our passing fad. Quiet quitting.
I hope it's going to stay, but kind of, yeah, I think like, I'm sure you can probably track the hustle culture that we sort of came of age with the fact that we came of age also during the recession. And I'm sure the next one, once the next one hits, like Gen Z is gonna be like, it's time to girl boss again, everyone, or whatever.
Yo, I'm
Yeah.
ready. I'm ready for the girl boss version 2.0. Like, we learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, we're gonna work even
during
harder.
V1. Even harder and more toxic than ever.
Yeah.
More girl, more boss.
Yeah.
2 girl, 2 boss.
2 girls, 1 boss.
2 girls, 1 boss.
Oh God, no.
Oh, I'm down. Let's go. All right. So when the wing sprouts up again, let's get a membership, Young Mi.
Okay.
All right, I'm down.
It'll be the Wing Hype House. Like, that's what it's gonna be.
Oh my
Right?
God. Yes.
It's like collaborate with like-minded creators.
Brian is so ready for this.
Well, I wondered, like, this whole creator economy is funded by advertisers, but if everyone's trying to become a creator and everyone's becoming an influencer, who's out here doing the real work and working for the advertisers?
That's a good question. That's
What's
why
gonna
we're the
happen
real.
then?
Yeah, that's why we're the real lucrative jobs are now.
Yeah, I'm ready to work for Coca-Cola. That's what my next move will be. Okay, here to stay our passing fad: men with tote bags.
Okay, my question to you was like, what do guys do with tote bags in the winter? Because you can't really do tote bags in the winter, right?
I carry my tote bag in the
I've
winter.
seen Brian
you
with
do?
a tote bag in the winter. Yeah.
Oh, I always
Why
thought they were
wouldn't
like a
you
summer
be able
thing.
to?
Cause you're wearing like a slippy coat, right? And then it slips
Yeah.
off your shoulder. Maybe guys don't
But
have
I'm
that
not.
problem.
See, I do mine for function and not for the aesthetic. Because in the winter, my tote bag be acting like a blood pressure cuff on my puffy jacket. just there. It doesn't look good, but it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But is it here to stay, or is it a passing fad?
I think it's an overall passing fad, just because I think the like, oh, I'm supporting my small business in this really like ostentatious way. I think it's kind of just become like a character. Like, I think people do it ironically, maybe, but after a while, like, I don't know, you carry your like tote bag from from whatever coffee shop, and I think after a while, like, I don't know, I've just felt like an asshole doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to. I'm a convert. I was a big backpack guy. Then I changed the tote bag, and I have more back problems now.
Yeah.
Because all my weight is just going onto one shoulder. I think I'm developing scoliosis.
Yep.
So I have one of 2 options left available to me. Either I'm gonna do what all my LA friends do now, is wear like a cross-body fanny bag, or go back to my roots and pick up a JanSport. But I just feel that, like, if you're an adult man wearing a backpack, it just feels so juvenile. So what do you carry your shit in then?
Yeah. You get like a little like a European satchel, like the
There you
I
go.
don't know,
So
like
the
Frenchmen do.
tote bag makes you feel like a douche, but a European
Yeah.
satchel is
European.
A-okay.
The tote bag to me seems so flimsy. I don't know.
It is
Maybe it's just
flimsy.
like, yeah.
Okay, so we're in agreement. Passing fad, tote bags.
Make a apocalyptic basket out of hemp
Yeah.
strains in your backyard out of long grass, and then just wear
You know,
it like a basket over your head, Brian.
This is my fashion.
the
This is my
times.
fashion trend forecast here. So a lot of Gen Z dudes be rocking pearls. I feel like the next wave is them. They're gonna be carrying those like cottage core wicker
An
basket
Easter
basket.
basket.
type of
Yes.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna be big in spring 2023 amongst the most toxic male East Village male set in
hot.
New York City. Okay. Passing trends or here to stay. Gorpcore, or like rock climbing, like tech shit.
Can you tell that Brian wrote these out? Brian's the one that came up with these. I have no Gorpcore. What's Gorpcore? Are chefs here to stay? Gorpcore, yay or nay?
I don't know why you're shitting on these questions when you could have contributed. It was there
No,
for
because
for
you
you to
have your
contribute.
finger on the pulse, Brian. I don't even know what Gorp Core is, so I feel like this had to be your job because I don't know. I didn't even know what Be Real was. I'm fucking 40.
See, you've seen the light during Nirvana. I'm on I'm teetering the edge of embarrassing because as a 32-year-old man, why do I still know what Gorp Core is? This is my
what's
last
Gorp
hurrah
Core?
here.
Yeah, is it here to stay?
It's just like a lot of urbanites wearing outdoors gear. It's
Yeah.
like you notice a lot of people dressing like the coolest Korean ajishis and ajumas.
Yeah, I'm gonna say for certain it's not going anywhere in Korea because they've been doing that and they will be doing that.
But yeah, passing. We'll agree it's a passing fad. But what's not in Korea though? Yeah, I came up with all of these. So if this was a boring segment, listeners, I apologize in advance.
No, it was fascinating. I needed to know, Brian. I'm very out of touch, and I thank you for bringing these up because none of them I knew what they were. So thank you.
Delia, did you know what they were?
I was gonna ask, like, is Gorp Core, do you mean like the Patagonia kind of
Yes.
like I'm about to go camping thing? I was just gonna say, like, I think it will stay, but like out of like
Yes.
not because of irony, but because soon we will all have to like be camping or know how
Exactly.
to camp.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Out of survivalism.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a big theme.
I agree.
Oh,
I
okay.
agree.
Well, we got our silly games out of the way. Let's get to the real shit, Delia. Let's talk about your forthcoming debut novel, Central Places. And some research online shows that it's about a city girl who returns to her small Midwest town with her white fiancé and chaos ensues. Correct. Is that accurate?
Yes. Yeah. It's very like Hallmark movie, but with immigrant baggage.
Nice.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Now, follow-up question. Is this novel somewhat biographical?
Oh, yes. I would say like kind of like the events leading up to. So the book centers around basically this visit home for the holidays that this character Audrey like brings her. She's like bringing her fiance home to meet her parents. And so it's the book centers around the events of that trip, but the kind of lead up to it in terms of like this character grew up in a small town in Illinois and hated it and moved to New York and like started working like this very like fast-paced, I'm such a busy girl like kind of job, and then she comes home and feels like weird about it. That's all that's all definitely from my own experiences, but I think the actual and then like the actual like events of the book, the like, oh, she's engaged and she's bringing him home, like that has never happened for me. And so in some ways I think writing this novel was like a thought exercise of like, oh, what if I had brought like one of those white boyfriends home for the holidays? Like, what if we got engaged and like I would have to navigate this whole mess? So sort of like a big hypothetical.
Wait, so you have dated white men in the past, but you've never brought them home?
I'm trying to think. I don't think so. I've never brought anyone home. Mostly because it's such a trek.
Yeah.
But also kind of I think to avoid like situations like this, because I'm sort of like, I think until I wrote this novel I didn't really know how I felt about a lot of things.
But did your parents know that you were dating these people?
Sort of.
Right.
Where I'm like thinking like my mom and I were close, but we don't really talk about like kind of dating. I think she's just sort of like, let me know when you find the one, let me know, otherwise I don't need to like memorize all these names.
Wow. My mom and I are the opposite. We like tell each other everything.
Yeah.
Every single disgusting detail.
I'm kind of envious.
I know it's not healthy probably, but I mean it's mostly me saying it. My mom's not talking about her sex life at all. It's just me.
That's cool. But your parents have a hands-off, chill approach. Mine are
that sounds very chill.
Yeah, mine are suffocating. If there's just like a woman within a 100-mile radius of me, my parents are like, it doesn't even fucking matter at this point. Just marry them. Just whoever that is, just marry them.
Wow, really, Brian? They want you to get married? You're not that
Yeah.
old.
I thought it was like more chill for guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, my parents are quite old school. They're just like, just do it, and everything
When
will
did
fall
they
into
start
place.
with the marriage thing, Brian? When did they start like bothering you about that? Like, how old were you?
I think once I turned 30.
I see.
Yeah, and I'm over here like, but mom, age is just a number. I mean, can't you see that everyone's getting married later and later? The economy, and they're like, they don't care. Never change, mom and dad, love you.
Interesting.
But what was it like, the process of writing this novel? I guess, to revisit, like, because it's so close to you, like these past feelings that you've had, and to like reevaluate and deconstruct your life in this way for this book. Like, how did it all feel?
I mean, it's really funny, Youngmi, what you said earlier about like writing as diarrhea, because I have this note here where I was like gonna describe it as like, those like weird culty like therapy experiences where you go in and you're like supposed to throw up, but then like afterwards you feel like cleansed and new and whatever. I was like, I feel like this
physically throw up or like just spill your beans. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know about those. Yeah.
Or like there's one, I think there's like some culty practice where it's like you go in and they sort of like simulate birth in a way where you're like surrounded by people and then they kind of like birth you out, and it's really like creepy and weird, and you kind of like, and your body is super like, I think your body like goes into shock and you like apparently vomit and all this stuff, but then like your trauma is healed.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I need to look up what this is, but like,
no, there was it was in the news because somebody died that way. A child died.
What?
Yeah, like it was a problematic teen, like a tween, like a 12-year-old or something, and so they're like, oh, we're gonna do this therapeutic thing where we reenact your birth to like heal birth trauma, and then they suffocated her or something.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's not funny, but I'm just like, yikes.
So that's a passing fad, not here to stay.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But I feel like in terms of like, this is like, I think everyone's like debut novel is sort of like coming to terms with their like childhoods and stuff, and so this was definitely my reckoning with that, and so it was very like almost like nauseating in some ways, but then when it was done I was like, oh, things make so much sense to me. Like I've literally created a narrative around it now that I can understand.
You know what I find so fascinating about this? Because, this is your debut, like you said, and like you're saying you pulled so much from your life, like, but then also it's fiction. So you added this whole white guy coming home part, which is really fascinating. And I think it's like very interesting, and I can see why, you wanted to add that, but it's like, it's just like really interesting to me that you chose to sort of like explore that.
Yeah, I think it was almost sort of like I feel like the boyfriend is not, or the fiance is not, really so much based on like one person I know that was sort of like, what if? But it almost felt like a splitting of like the white gaze I've had in like my head in my life, and sort of splitting that into like this guy, and so that way I'm sort of like, he's looking at her life while she's also looking at it. That sounds, I never like actually thought of it that way, so I'm like, okay, that sounds really good. I'm gonna use that when I talk about it later.
No, but when you said that, that's really fascinating. So the character kind of stands for the white male gaze, which you feel like you've been like oppressed under your whole life.
Yeah. Like that little voice.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I love that.
That sounds like, yeah, I mean, I commend all writers, because it's like I find it incredibly torturous and really difficult to do, but just to have like sit with that and really probe, like, how does this make me feel? Like, what is my relationship to the white gaze and my family? I'm just like, God, it's so heavy, Yeah.
Brian's like having anxiety right now, just like thinking about it. But that's like such a great, like, what a great metaphor. What a great, like, yeah. I can totally understand why you did that now.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I again, like I hadn't thought about it that way until literally talking to you now. And so now I'm like,
really?
oh yeah. It's kind of making me think of the whole book in a different way now.
Wow, I love that. The oppressive white boyfriend that's always there. The Asian American story.
Yeah.
Well, Delia, we've approached our Patreon section where we're going to ask you some questions about how you feel. So, listeners, if you want to hear Delia's responses to these questions, head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/feelingasian. So, without further ado, Delia, what's something you're loving right now? If you don't subscribe to the Patreon, you really missed out because Delia dropped some hot takes, and there was a $1 billion idea in there somewhere too. But
we talked about Dime Square. We talked about ballet flats. We talked about, feeling ashamed.
Ling Ma, Bliss Montage.
Ling Ma.
All the
There's
good
so
stuff.
much in there. It was a juicy Patreon episode.
But Delia, we're at the end of the pod, and we like to leave all of our guests with this one last question. What is something that you're proud of?
My sleep schedule has been pretty good, I gotta say. I'm like putting those 8 hours in. I'm waking up like before my alarm. That's a real accomplishment, I gotta say. I'm having great dreams. Yeah.
I'm very proud of you for that.
Are the rumors true though? If you do get 8 hours of sleep nightly and your sleep schedule's regular, do you feel a lot better?
Yeah, I would say yes, but I'm also the kind of person who can't function with like bad sleep. Like I'll just crumble, like you'll be able to tell. I wish I was more of like a warrior in that way, but like I don't drink coffee. I don't really drink caffeine, so it's like up to the gods.
It makes a huge difference for me. I've been getting great sleep recently, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm doing things that I couldn't do before. Yeah. It's like night and day.
Damn.
I'm like not crying all the time.
Oh, I'm the opposite. I'm over here only getting like 4 to 5 hours of sleep every night.
Oh, God.
Just up late thinking about industries to disrupt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The next $1 billion idea.
We're all just out here trying to catch our unicorn. Well, Delia, sorry to make the vibes corporate tryhard there, but for our listeners, where can they pre-order your book if they want to buy it in store? When will it be out?
So you can pre-order it now at either your favorite local indie bookstore, but also Amazon. If sometimes it happens. No judgment. A little bit of judgment. And then if you want to get in touch or just like see like my unhinged thoughts, I'm way too active on Twitter. So it's just I think yeah. I'm like, what is my handle? I think it's Delia_Kai.
Sweet. And what about you, Youngmi?
YM Mayor or Youngmi Mayor on TikTok. How about you, Brian?
You can find me online at It's Brian Park. Follow the podcast at Feeling Asian Podcast on all socials. Leave us a review. And yeah, I think that's it, everyone. If you made it this far, thanks for listening. And we'll see you all here next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.